What's up everyone, my name is Alpha and today we're back with another Pokemon challenge video. Today we're on Pokemon Infinite Fusion and today's challenge will be, can I beat Pokemon Infinite Fusion using only unknown fusion Pokemon? So it's going to be a very interesting challenge video as I am forced to use only Pokemon fused with the base Pokemon Unknowns. If you guys don't know, Unown is probably recognized as one of the weaker Pokemon because of its lack of move pool and also lack of stats. As you can see, I've tried my research. I've looked through a lot of different Pokemon to see which one will work, and you'll see how many Pokemon I went through in this challenge video itself. But for example, Mewtwo, one of the strongest Pokemon ever available to you in this game, is very mid fuse with an unknown. It has a base stat total of 510. It brought the monstrous Mewtwo down to 510 base stat total. So of course it's going to be a lot more difficult, but I am up for the challenge. And as well, we're going to play on the modern mode, which is going to be a lot more difficult. We're also going to play on hard mode, which is the hardest difficulty. We're also going to add some more rules, as in we have to play on set mode, and we can't use items inside a battle. We can use hell items, but we can't use items inside a battle, just like bag items or whatnot. But an actual fun rule that we're going to add is going to be each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments. So thanks so much for leaving a nickname in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after your future Pokemon, just drop in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while you're down there, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, let's get into the challenge video itself. So to begin off with, unfortunately, I got an Unown as a starter Pokemon. You can customize your starter Pokemon to anything you want. So I could technically choose a fusion Pokemon, but I think it's more fun to use the base Pokemon and then find a Pokemon around us. However, this Unown actually is a bad one. So unfortunately, this Unown, when I fused it with a Budew, it already has Hidden Power Grass. So I only have grass moves to start the game off, so it's actually really bad for me. So I have to restart. I have to get a new Unown, and at least this one has electric as the hidden power, so decently well. I am able to train my Pokemon a little bit more since I have more variety on my move pool. So that was just really unfortunate that I got Hidden Power Grass as my first Unown. Now once I get to this point though, it takes a little bit to evolve. Thankfully, Happiness Evolutions evolve at level 15, so we're able to evolve the Budew into a Roselia, which looks very sad when it evolves. My Aurelia looks actually pretty depressing, so I don't know why Aurelia sprite is really bad, but you know what, we have to deal with it as we move on and face off against Brock next. Brock actually ends up beating us down so many times because we're just really weak on the physical defensive side, so we have to be very careful. We're gonna start the battle off against the Shroomiart with my Aurelia. We're able to growth down into the Shroomiart and do a lot of damage with hidden power. We're able to do a lot of damage into the Steed Jr. with Mega Drain and recover a lot more HP back from when it's attacking us, so we're able to survive the moves and eventually knock out Brock, get our first gym badge in the game. This wasn't looking too bad. It took me like half an hour to evolve my Undo into Aurelia and then head into Mount Moon, which we didn't lose a single battle in here, which is very nice. And then from there, we're going to move out and we're going to head into Cerulean City. Now, unfortunately, we lose every single battle in here. Now, that doesn't bode well for us, as we're actually going to go north, Cerulean City, and across Nugget Bridge, where we're going to try our best to find an Abra out here, which didn't happen. We're eventually going to get the Poke Raider, but not right now. We're also going to actually diffuse our Aurelia into, well, the other form you can get, which is going to be Unown. From there, we're going to move out and face off against Misty with our brand new fusion, which is flipped over. And we did not get good luck facing off against Misty. We missed every single Grass Whistle possible. Eventually, on the good attempt, we're able to land the Grass Whistle. We're able to get a bunch of growth up and then Hidden Power to knock out the Glarogue. And then her next Pokemon will be a Manarus, which I take it back. I don't think it's Hidden Power. I don't think it's Hidden Power Electric. It should be super effective against the Manarus or even one-shot it. It's not super effective at all, and you know what? Maybe it's not electric at all. We're able to Grass Whistle into it at least, and then Hidden Power is going to wake up first turn, hit us with a very strong wing attack. We're going to respond with Grass Whistle, and it actually hits for once, and we're able to clutch up with Hidden Power. We're able to two-shot the Manarus, no healing items from Misty, as we're able to beat down Misty and get the second gym badge in the game. This took 2 hours to basically beat Misty and also Lieutenant Surge. It was not fun at all. We're trying to beat Lieutenant Surge, but we're getting completely hard countered by this Houndlade. We cannot do anything because it outspeeds me and also bites, one-shots me regardless of what I try to do. So from there, I decided to defuse my Aurelia and then get myself a Gyarados and infuse that to get an Undos, which is going to be very ugly, but it's going to be very useful. Also, we can go back and catch ourselves some more unknowns so we have more Pokemon. Now, I got the Poke Radar specific for this, so this 4% chance at nighttime to get unknown. I can actually mitigate that and get a bunch of unknowns chained together. So, chaining unknowns are pretty easy. We also fuse together a Honedge and unknown to get ourselves a Honown. From there, we're also going to fuse together an unknown and an Abra, and then evolve that into a Kadabra to get an Umbra. From there, we're going to face off against the Houndlade, and it still bodies us, so we have to be very careful. The way I found out to beat this Lieutenant Surge boss battle, we're going to start the battle off against the Noseky. We're going to quickly do some damage against the Noseky and then switch out into my Umbra. My Umbra is able to knock out the Noseky. The Umbra is able to get a Reflect Up and then knock out the Noseky. From there, I can sacrifice it to the Houndlade, switch out into my Undos, which will take any hit from the Houndlade now, and we're able to two-shot it with Aqua Tail and also knock out the Fletch and Chop. And from there, we're able to beat down Lieutenant Surge and finally get ourselves the 3rd gym badge. We're going to evolve our Honown into a Unown and also go through the Rock Tunnel and then head into Celadon City, which we're going to get ourselves a Scyther. We're going to evolve that into a Scizor eventually and obviously fuse that. We're also going to get an Espeon and fuse that with another unknown to get an Umpyon. This thing looks very cool. Very cool sprite. That's the only reason I want to use it, by the way. And also, we're going to catch ourselves a Slack Off, fuse that with our unknown to get an Uncough. Will be very good. We could just dismiss the fact that it has Truant as an ability and makes it one of the very few Pokemon that actually is very fast and very powerful when fusing with unknown. So from there, we're going to spend a lot of time getting bullied by Giovanni because our team is still kind of trash. We're unable to really beat Giovanni, but eventually we get through it thanks to our Unking, which is lacking and unknown. It got so bad, I decided to diffuse my Umpyon to get myself an Untini, eventually into an Unknight, which from there, we're going to face up against Erica next. Erica is going to be the 4th gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against her Typter using my Undos. Undos is able to one-shot it with an Aqua Tail. Take a Sticky Barb activation, but I'm able to switch out into my Unking. Unking is able to one-shot the Butter Guys somehow and then two-shot the Galvantron. I don't know why, but Chip Away is going to stick on. This is the moveset I have for my Unking, basically for the rest of the game, which is kind of funny. I replace Encore with Yawn, and that's the entire moveset for this thing. I feel bad for it, but it's actually very powerful. I should have went out and got myself Return. But from there, we're actually going to go out and catch ourselves a Snorlax for the leftovers. And we forget to use it, actually. This just crossed my mind that I actually never got the leftovers from the Snorlax that I just caught. So that's kind of embarrassing. But from there, we're going to face up against Koga next. Koga demolishes us really badly. Koga is able to just beat me down a lot, but eventually we get a good run against him. Where unfortunately, we still sacrifice my Unown. But my Undos is able to knock out the Weeflame. The Haunter comes out. It starts bothering my team as well. So I go out into my Unking. Unking is able to eventually knock out the Haunter, but I'm still at low HP. And then the Umtera comes out. I am very lucky. I'm very, very lucky. I still have the Umzor in the back to X-Scissor and knock out the Umtera. Oh wait, it doesn't even knock them out. That's how weak they are. But at least Bullet Punch would knock them out, and we're able to beat down Koga. Now from there, we can move on and face off against Giovanni in here. Giovanni and our rival in Silphco isn't too difficult. As you can see, we're able to beat them down, but geez, things are getting very tough for us. Things are getting so tough for us that once we face off against Sabrina, the 6th gym leader in the game, we have so much trouble that our team just falls apart. Like, everyone's just terrible. Like, I am getting upset. The only one that's decent and gets a kill at least is my Unking, but he can't carry my entire team. So I decided to go back, unfuse my Unzor, and then catch myself a Volcarona, fuse that with my Unknown, and then hopefully that can help me, because everything on my team is not working out. Now before we go back to Sabrina, we're going to go to Goldenrod and get ourselves a Dust Stone and evolve our Unown into an Agenown, which is going to be very useful. From there, we're going to face off against Sabrina finally. Sabrina's going to start the battle off using a Sylveotion. I'm going to use my Undos to Dragon Dance and then Aqua to knock him out. His next Pokemon will be a Maricue, which will knock me out regardless. I go out into my Unking, which will yawn into him and then slack off the damage. Eventually, I'm able to just chip away at it. Bane attack does very little damage. I'm able to put him to sleep once again. Go out into my Agenown. Agenown is able to go for a Swords Dance and then Iron Head. Eventually, oh, I got greedy. I go in for 2 Swords Dance to knock him out. Her next Pokemon will be a Drifro, which will play rough me, but I'm able to Shadow Sneak twice into him to knock him out. Her final Pokemon will be a Clefix, which does get a Seismic Toss on me, but I'm able to lower his attack stat as I go out into my Volcarona. which I made the Fiery Dance twice into him and knock out the Clefix, get ourselves the 6th gym badge finally. And now we can move out and then go into Cinnabar Island, which we're able to go into the gym, which is not much for us to do. What is the answer for this puzzle? I swear I've answered every single answer for this. Is it the bottom answer? From there, we can face off against Blaine next. Blaine is the 7th gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Unown, which I should really name. I forgot to name for a little bit, but I'm going to go for a Fiery Dance and then Quiver Dance right after, and then another Fiery Dance to knock out the Klinkferrig. His next Pokemon will be a Xano, which I'm able to knock down to a Focus Sash, but he's going to knock me out. I'm able to go out to my Unown, which is able to get a Swords Dance off against him, and then a Shadow Sneak to do nothing. I could survive the Shadow Ball pretty easily, as I'm able to get another Swords Dance and then Shadow Sneak to knock him out. His next Pokemon will be a Toga Nucleus, which he goes for 2 Calm Minds for some reason, and I'm able to get an Iron Head off against him to knock him out. Well, a Shadow Sneak included, but I'm able to knock him out, and his final Pokemon will be an Allosaur, which I go out, take a Psychic, Iron Head to knock him out in one shot, and we're able to beat down Blaine without losing the battle or blacking out for once. From there, we're going to face off against Giovanni. More specifically, we're going to face off against the Zapmokuno, which I thought this battle was going to be a lot more difficult. I'm able to win it out pretty easily. As you can see, I'm able to target down the Moltres head, and from there, I'm going to target down the Articuno head, and from there, I'm able to knock out the Zapdos head, and things are pretty easy. I mean, we go down to our last Pokemon, but still our first try, as we're able to beat down the Zapmokuno, and then face off against Giovanni multiple times. This battle is not easy at all. So the plan for this battle is to start the battle off. I have to start the battle off against his Zacian, disguising as a Kekon, but it has Dark Pose and it always one-shots everything on my team. So I use my Unown to use Sacred Sword to knock him out and basically bait out the Porlurk. From there, I'm able to just weak him down a little bit, switch out into my, oh my god, my Unknight goes down. Then from there, I go out to my Unking, which is able to get a Yawn off against him. Eventually, he's able to knock me out, which forces him to go to sleep. So eventually, I'm able to knock him out. I'm able to get +4 on my Unown, which I'm able to knock out the Porlurk. From there, he's going to switch out to his Kucken. I'm able to Fiery Dance, knock him out as well. I'm able to also knock out the Smeargar, but his final Pokemon will be a Kekon, which fakes out me and knocks me out, but I still have 2 Pokemon in the back. I do have my Undos with Intimidate to lower his attack stat, and from there, I'm able to Aqua Tail into him. Eventually get him down to low HP, but I'm able to go out into my Unown, which is able to get a King Shield up and then knock him out. Well, he's going to knock himself out, but we're able to knock him out, which is nice. We're going to get ourselves the 8th gym badge in the game, which is very rewarding for the amount of trouble we went through. From there, we can go into Victory Road, which we're going to clear through pretty easily, surprisingly. From there, we're going to make our final adjustments and get ourselves the team for Earthquake, obviously, and face off against the Elite Four next. We're going to face off against Lorelei first. Lorelei in this game is a Water Elite Four member, so we're going to start the battle off against her using my Unown, which is able to go for a Quiver Dance against the Palillion, which has Aqua Jet, which almost knocks me out. So I'm able to survive that, and then just barely at 2 HP. Two-shot him as he doesn't go for another Aqua Jet, so we're gonna take that, take any move we can do. From there, she's gonna switch out to her Kingdrio, which I'm able to outspeed at least. Unfortunately, I don't know what hidden power this is, and I'm able to do a lot of damage to it, but it doesn't knock him out. As I go out to my Unking next, which two-shots it, so Kingdrio goes down. Her next Pokemon will be a Swan Ray, which I'm able to go for a Yawn and then slack off all the damage. I eventually put him to sleep and then knock him out with back-to-back Chipaways. And then her next Pokemon will be a Gyaraku, which I'm able to get a Yawn off. It's going to play rough me. Doesn't do a lot of damage. I could have just stayed in, but I switch out into my Unown, which is able to go for an Iron Head. 3 Iron Heads would knock out the Gyaraku, which is nice. It stays asleep. From there, she can switch out into her Spirimuku, which toxics me, and I missed like 5 Dragon Rushes, which is insane. Eventually, I'm able to knock him out with an Earthquake, and their final Pokemon will be a Malatina, which I go out into, you guys remember this thing? My Unkazam, which I'm able to do some chip, well, I don't do a lot of chip damage. It knocks me out with a Hydro Pump easily. But I go out to my Undos, which I'm just going to go for Crunch and then Dragon Dance and Crunch. Eventually, I'm at the HP range, which I'm pretty sure Thrash, which is 120 power, will knock out the Malatina, and I do that. I'm able to knock out the Malatina, and we're able to beat down Lorelei, which is very nice. From there, we're going to face off against Bruno next. Bruno is going to be the Rock type, I guess. Elite Four, Rock, Ground type, I don't know. He's going to start the battle off against us using a Tyrannoflame. Actually, Bruno is one of 2 Elite Four members that I actually spent a lot of time restarting. I think 3 restarts for Bruno. I'm able to start the battle off against him using my Unkazam, which is able to go Psychic into the Tyrannoflame. Doesn't knock him out, but he gets down to low HP, which allows me to go out into my Unknight, which is able to go for a Dragon Dance and an Aqua Tail to knock out the Tyrannoflame. His next Pokemon will be an Octostar, which I quickly go for an Earthquake, force him to use a full restore, which allows me to go and knock him out since he already used his Focus Sash. Oh, I just outspeed him anyways, never mind, he doesn't use a full restore. From there, he's going to switch out to his Armatops, which I one-shot. His next Pokemon will be a Mirror, which I'm able to go for an Earthquake. Mega Horns me and knocks me out, but I'm able to go out into my Undos, which is able to go for an Aqua Tail and knock that thing out. His next Pokemon will be a Cray, which I go for a Crunch. He's Thunderbolt for some reason, but I go out into my Unown, which is able to go for a Sacred Sword. Does a lot of damage to him, nice damage. Eventually, Iron Head will knock him out, which is nice, and his final Pokemon will be his Probodon, which I don't have a lot of moves. He Eruption me, knocks me out, which is fine. I go out into my Unking, which is able to go for the standard Yawn into him, go to sleep, slack off all the damage, go out to my Volcaone, which unfortunately doesn't do anything, so I have to go back into my Unking, which eventually I am able to knock out, just put him to sleep, Rock Tomb, Chip Away. Chip Away does a lot of damage. I should have taught him Strength though. Strength would have done more damage, thinking back to it. But from there, we're able to beat down Bruno, and from there, we face off against Agatha. Next, Agatha kind of uses Ghost Pokemon. She starts the battle off against us using a Clefairy, which isn't a Ghost Pokemon at all. But I start the battle off against her using my Unking, which is able to get a Chip Away. 2 Chip Aways would knock him out. It uses all the full restores on the first 2 turns. It's not a bad thing, but I'm running out of PP and I don't have any elixirs or any of that. So that's kind of unfortunate. I go for a Rock Tomb against the Umzing, which it Toxics me, which is kind of annoying, but I am able to eventually knock him down to low HP. And then he's going to eventually knock me out with the Toxic. I go out into my Volcaone, which is going to Fiery Dance and knock out the Umzing. Get a special attack boost as well. Her next Pokemon will be a Shatterbok, which I go out, don't have anything to lose. I go for a Hidden Power just to gauge the damage. 2-shot it, so it actually works out pretty well. So we're going to eventually 2-shot the Shatterbok. And then from there, she can switch out into her Dust Plume, which doesn't knock me out, surprisingly enough. With a Pursuit, I am able to Fiery Dance into it. Unfortunately, I don't have enough power to knock out the Dust Plume, and it's going to knock me out. But that should be fine. I go out into my Unkazam, which is able to go Psychic and knock out the Dust Plume. Her next Pokemon will be a Crowrose, which I'm able to one-shot as well because it's partly Psychic type. And I'm able to go for a Psychic against a Mo, which is going to go for Sacred Fire. And somehow, my Unkazam survives it. I am obviously a few levels higher than it, like 18 levels higher than it, but surviving the Sacred Fire is a pretty large damage. Now from there, we're going to face off against Lance next. On our first attempt against Lance, we start the battle off against him using my Kazam. I'm able to go for a Calm Mind against the Togaflame. I take a Moonblast pretty well. I go for a Toxic as it U-turns into its Dark Knight, which I did not expect that. I'm able to go for another Toxic, lower down its HP eventually to go out to my Unknight, and it goes down easily. So I had to go out to my Unown, which is able to go for a Sacred Sword to eventually knock out the Dark Knight, but I'm at low HP. Force him into his Shandamori, which I don't know what to do in this situation, so I go out into my Volcaone. I go for Quiver Dances because that's the only thing I could think of. I'm eventually able to knock him out with a Hidden Power, which is nice. And from there, he's going to switch out into his Togaflame, which I go for a Fiery Dance, but he's going to Moonblast and knock me out. And I thought at this point, I was like, this is just a throwaway. I'm just going to try to finish the battle. I rock to knock out the Togaflame. He's going to switch out to a Septidactyl, which I yawn. He goes for a Sky Attack and misses, even through a Power Herb, so that's really nice. I'm able to go for a Rock Tomb against him, lower his speed. I'm able to outspeed him. My HP doesn't matter because I do have Slack Off as a move. He then goes out to his Doom Knight, which I'm able to go for a Yawn and a Slack Off all the damage. Eventually, I get a Rock Tomb off, which is wasteful, but I switch out into my Undos, which is able to go for a bunch of Dragon Dance. I go for 6 Dragon Dances as he's unable to hit me. And then from there, I'm able to go for a Crunch to knock out the Dewbat, and also a Crunch to knock out the Agements. Kinda, he lives, he still survives. He outrages me and knocks me out, but I go out into my Unking, which is my Unking carries me throughout the entire Elite Four run as I'm able to outspeed Rock Tomb and knock out the Agement, which is very nice. Now, you might be wondering why I'm such a high level and quite over level. Well, number one, I actually need it because Unown is way too weak for keeping the same level throughout, and also the level jumps drastically at the end, as you can see. But the final battles fight will be at 70-ish, so that's why it takes a little bit. And also, I still lose a lot of times, even though I'm at level 80 compared to level 70. As you see, they are so weak, they still get one-shotted. I don't know how badly Unown's defenses are, but it can't be this bad. It's so horrendous. But anyways, the strategy for this, I have to teach Undos my Gyarados Fire Blast to challenge against Blue. So we start the battle off against the Ninsharp, going for 2 Fire Blasts. First one lands, amazing. From there, he has the full restore. I'm able to knock him out with another Fire Blast, and that would knock him out. He's forced to switch into his array. I switch out into my Unknight, which would just be a sack. Needs to be a sacrificial lamb. He eventually would knock out my Unknight, and then from there I go out to my Unown. Unown is able to go for King Shield just to bait out some physical attacks and eventually lower his attack stat. When it works, I sack my Unown to go out into my Unking, which is able to go for a Yawn, and then I can switch out into my Volcanon. I'm able to take any hit, and I could go for a Quiver Dance boost. I could go for +6. However, I tried this so many times. The only issue is that sometimes it gets crits and it would knock me out, and sometimes it used Thunderbolt and it would knock me out. So I had to be very careful. I got very lucky at RNG, but things are not working out for me. But eventually we found a light. Eventually we are able to knock out the array with our own Pokemon. We're able to go up against the Chandevile, and I go for a hidden power. Wait, I'm not at +6. I lied. I'm not at +6. I'm not even at +6. Well, I'm just lying. I go for a Quiver Dance. He used Tricked. The Chandevile used Trick, and looks like it froze my game. I was so mad because I was finally over the array with some boost, but it works out. I lose my Silver Powder, but it's fine. I get the Flame Orb. I knock him out with 2 hidden powers, which as long as it misses a Blizzard, I'm fine with. It goes out to his Ryurion, which I'm going to go for a Bug Buzz and knock him out in one shot. His next Pokemon will be his Torterra, which I'm going to go for a Bug Buzz as well. One shot that thing. I'm going to go down to low HP. His next Pokemon will be his Haxmans, which I'm going to go for a hidden power. It doesn't knock him out, but he goes for an Outrage. Pretty much seal the battle as I go out into my Unkazam, which just dies. But I go out into my Undoze next, which I'm able to Intimidate and then Crunch to knock out the Haxmans, which finally means I can finally get over this challenge and get away from Unowns forever. I thought this challenge was going to be fun. It was fun. It was fun researching. And then I was actually looking and playing through the game, and I was like, wow, this is very difficult. It's very, very annoying. As long as we got to the end, we had to use a bunch of very strong Pokemon to mix in with the Unown for it to work. As you see, all of them are pretty good. Maybe my Unkazam could be better, but everyone served a lot of purpose. But anyways, that will be the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know what other Pokemon fusions you guys want to see in the future. Anyways, my name is Alpha. Hope you guys all had a great day, and I'm out. Peace.